What is up, Sooner Nation? I am Casey Mallon, and you are now, come on, get with me in a Sooner state of mind. Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, and Amazon Music. All I know is something like a bird within her sang, and all I know, she sang a little while and then flew on. Sooner state of mind, family. What is good? You know what's good. The Sooners are coming off what is one of my favorite wins in quite some time. Our OU Sooners beat the Michigan Wolverines 24-13. And what a game. Such a physical game. Tons of things to talk about with it. So let's just go get into it right now. Last week we said, why were we ever playing Jaren Kanak on defense? Dude is a natural. We said he reminds us of Stoops. Mateer reminds me of Baker, and it doesn't really get any better than that. Opening drive, crowd going crazy. 3rd and long for the Sooners. Have to get a first down to keep that opening drive going. Who else? Number 12, Kanak with the sick one-handed catch. Reaches out, pulls it in, gets Malachi crunched, holds on to it, picks up a huge first down. That kept the opening drive alive, and that was a big-time momentum starter. Got the crowd hyped, got the team hyped, and it kept the drive alive. After the game, Kanak does his interview with the titanium Wolverine claws, a little high-end trolling, if you will. Dude was born for social media. But back to the game, Mateer with a couple of huge runs, and his ability to start and stop. You see that a lot in the flag football game. It's very unique. I don't see any other quarterbacks really doing it the way he does, and it's very, very effective. They keep the drive going. 2nd and goal from the 9. Mateer hits that little pop pass to Burks. Javante Barnes with a punishing block opens up the lane. Deion Burks, Keontez Lewis sealing off his block. These receivers and backs were blocking their tails off last week, and it paid dividends. Touchdown Sooners. Open up with a 12-play, 75-yard, 5-minute scoring drive. Sooners take the lead later in the quarter. Justice Haynes meet Kendall Daniels. Blowed up, sir. A loss of 5 on the screen pass. Michigan was doing a lot of stuff around the line of scrimmage, and the Sooner defense was just eating it up. Move on to the second quarter. Michigan punting from their own 20. Seagull roughs the punter. First down, Michigan. Now, you can't fault a guy for hustling. And if you don't like where you're at on the depth chart, BV's like, make plays on special teams. But we got to be smarter than that. He was close to roughing or at least hitting the punter on the previous punt. Should have been coached up. Hey, let's slow our roll a little bit. We just got a huge stop. We're getting the ball back. We have momentum. We don't need a block right here. We just need to field the punt and get we'd had a short field. It doesn't happen, but it's a teaching point, and I know he will learn from it, as we saw later in the game. Sooners defense just keeping Michigan shut out. They could not do anything in the first half. It was quite impressive. Sooners get the ball back. Just a couple minutes left in the first half. Mateer keeper, touchdown. Barnes with another great block. OU up 14-0 at the half. We're feeling pretty good about everything at this point. Michigan's not been able to do anything at all. We talked about last week going into this game. Justice Haynes, you take out the 2 huge runs he had and was right under, 3 yards a carry. Well, opening play of the third quarter, he takes his 75 yards to the house. Bowen and RSJ just got sucked a little too much into the middle, kind of lost the edge there, and Justice Haynes made him pay for it. And now with a whole half of domination, 11 seconds into the third quarter. That lead is cut in half, 14-7, but the defense kept playing. Marvin Jones Jr. had a great stuff on a run, a screen. David Stone chases that thing down and makes a huge play. So many hustle plays on both sides of the ball for the Sooners in this game, and you'd like to see it, especially in a game with this magnitude. Offensively, it was tough to get stuff going for the Sooners, man. That Michigan front is really good. They were collapsing almost everything. And in my opinion, I would be shocked if we see a front better than them. They were tough, but the Sooners would eventually wear them down. Later in the third quarter, Mateer had a pass to Lewis. It was almost going to get picked, but Isaiah Sategna made a great play to break it up, to stop it, win on defense and knock that thing away. So he had a little equity. So that would come back later on in the game. The very next play, Michigan sends that corner blitz. Mateer, too strong, breaks away, rolls out, and guess who makes the incredible catch? Sategna on the sideline. He got rewarded for his previous hustle play. He breaks up the interception. The Sooners live to play again, and he has a huge catch. Okay? All the guys were staying in the game, staying invested, man. And I was just completely stoked about the play of these Sooners. And now I know it's been a small sample size, but Torrey Blaylock is so far the best back on the squad. I was stoked to just see him out there. I didn't think he was going to play. So when he came out, a bit surprising, but love to see dude out there. And he's just got juice, whatever it is. He has got it. Huge Sategna play. You get down there. Another called Mateer keeper. There was a lot of this. Arbuckle called a lot of these, and it was very impactful in this game. And what I love most about this keeper is Jaren Kanak blowed up his blocker, punishing block on Jaysean Barham, who had missed the first half of this because of the targeting last week. He got targeted by a Kanak block, blew him up, sealed it off, and then on the other side, Torrey Blaylock sealing his block. Touchdown, Sooners. Mateer, 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. And these dudes are making hustle and effort plays. Shows you a team that's playing for their brothers, and that is the football that I love, and it is infectious on this squad. And I know we're only a couple games in, but it has been awesome to see all of this happening. And am I crazy to think if this ascension of Jaren Kanak continues at this rate, that he can't work himself into the NFL? It might be practice squad for a year or maybe even 2, but dude eats up the film work. He loves football. He snuck into OU to follow Venables after he told him, no, you committed to Clemson. He wanted to be with BV. And why it didn't start the way that they envisioned, it's all about the way you finish, man. And this dude is contributing in a major way to the offense. I think he's the leading receiver or the leading tight end receiving in the SEC, and dude's got 2 games under his belt. He is just a football player, and that is what I love about football. That's what I love about players like that, and that's what I love about this squad. And now the Sooners are up 21-7, and they are rolling. Now, we talked about number 7 roughing the kicker earlier. And that when I was watching the game, I was really pissed off. But this team is full of first and second year players. And in football, most of the time you learn lessons the hard way. But that is the only way you learn. After he roughed the punter, you're not going to see him do that again. And as long as you learn from your mistakes, you become a better player and you overcome it. You might be able to work that into your life as well. You know, we all make mistakes. We're human, but learning from them is where it's all at. Another cat that showed up, Heinecke. Dude was a walk-on, and he was balling, made some huge plays. They actually made a play to force a punt. Second 23, Michigan's buried on their side of the ball, almost a safety. Third and 23, they run. They're just going to punt. OU is dominating the game at this point. Michigan punts. Sategna trying to do a little too much. Just fair catch it, bro. It tried to make a tough catch. He doesn't. He fumbles. Michigan gets a huge break. And I don't mind mistakes as much on hustle plays, but we had the roughing the kicker. Now we have a fumble on a punt when all we needed was just to field it cleanly. We're going to have killer field position. And instead, we had a sick defensive stop that just kind of got thrown in the garbage pan. We had an opportunity to seize the momentum and just let the offense work. We had players making bad decisions. We have to coach them up. We saw it more than once. So it's obviously something that they're going to have to talk about. But when you get into practice after the game, a huge win where a lot of stuff happened that was great, you still have coaching moments. And you can say, hey, this is where we need to clean up. And you do it now, and hopefully you don't do it again. But that kind of changed the game. It set Michigan up with the 1st and 10 on our side of the field. And defense is still playing great, but now you feel it happening a little bit. Michigan got into field goal range, drive stalled. They do settle for a field goal, but now after everything, it's 21-10. So starting to get a little squirmy, man. This thing was on cruise control, but a couple mistakes happen, and now you've got yourself a ball game again. Ensuing OU possession. Bobbles the kickoff, and OU starts from the 7. Roughing the punter. Fumble on a punt return, and now we bobble the ball, and we start at the 7. Special teams going to be a blast this week. Sooners possession stalls. They punt it away. Michigan gets the ball back. And besides the 75-yard touchdown to Haynes, Underwood, one of his only really good throws of the day, he hits McCauley. McCauley with the sick catch actually catches it on the other side of the defender and brings it down. It's great coverage, but just a sick freaking catch, and unfortunately very reminiscent of the Noah Brown catch when Ohio State came in and kicked the crap out of us in Norman. And now another Big Ten school has just been given life due to our mistakes. Momentum has definitely shifted in this game. But you know what? That Sooners defense gets the stop, shuts that drive down. Michigan does add a field goal, and now we're sitting at an 8-point game, 21-13. And you know I am squirming on this thing, right? I'm freaking out. We had this thing on cruise control, and now it's a one-score game. Sooners driving, 3rd and 3, incredibly important play, and this was one of my favorite plays of the game. Mateer's got a monster blitz coming. He avoids the pressure and somehow gets the pass up over the pressure, drops it into Barnes. Just a perfect pass against crazy pressure. Barnes with a really great catch as well. He punishes the tackler on his way to 16-yard pickup, a crucial 1st down. Loving it. We're getting that Mo back. 1st and 10 at the 24. Flea flicker just out of the reach of Kanak. Oh, my God. It looks like he was looking back instead of pushing downfield. Just barely off. The crowd would have lost their freaking minds had he been able to come up with that. He wasn't. 3rd and 10. Michigan brings the heat again. Nothing there for Mateer. So we're going to settle on the 42-yard field goal. No problem. We're going to go up by 11. Unfortunately, the field goal was no good. And now it's starting to feel like the special teams are doing this on purpose. It's starting to feel personal. WTF. Out of my television to me is like, what did I do wrong? I'm just sitting here enjoying the game, and these special teams are gonna kill me. Ensuing possession, Omasigo, he had the mistake earlier. He responds. Him and Jaden Jackson have a little meeting at Underwood. Smashy, smashy. It's a sack. 3rd and 15. An important play for Michigan to try to keep their drive going. Pass batted down by guess who? Heinecke, number 38. Who does this cat think he is? Roy Williams. Incredible plays, timely plays on the spot all night. Incredible to see. And that forces the Michigan punt. OU takes possession of the ball. 10 minutes and 11 seconds left in the game, left in the fourth quarter. And this drive, this ensuing drive, definitely a contender for one of my all-time favorite Sooner drives. 1st and 10 at our 18. Mateer for 20. A great run. And our receivers are blocking their tails off downfield yet again. You saw it all night. You saw the effort. You saw the hustle. It doesn't get any better than that in football. 1st and 10, OU on their own 38. Mateer channeling his inner Baker somehow stays alive, avoids the rush, and finds Kanak in traffic. Sooners are moving and around to Sategna for 8. 2nd and 2. They pick up 1. 3rd and less than 1. Kanak lines up at fullback. Sooners in I formation. Kanak leading that way for Barnes. Huge first down. What is Kanak not doing in this game, man? Dude is doing a little bit of everything, and I'm loving every minute of it. And I'm not sure the last time I saw us in I formation do a fullback lead right up the gut. I don't remember, man. It's been a long time, and it was brilliant and beautiful to see. Barnes, ensuing run, picks up 9. Mateer gets the first, and they end up moving this ball down. Just a methodical drive by Arbuckle. The patience shown by such a young OC. This point in the drive, we've already chewed up 5 minutes, and nothing is stopping this offense. A little hitch to Burks on the sideline, but he stays in bound. Keeps that clock moving. Smart player, man. Dudes, everybody's doing the right thing. Sooners coming up with a 3rd and 2. Gnarly face mask on 0. That guy is a beast. But just a poorly timed penalty. Half the distance to the goal. 1st down, Sooners. And they would eventually turn that into the field goal to go up by 11. And you got to give it up to this offensive line. They didn't have a huge yards per carry average, but when they needed to run, they ran the freaking rock. And it's been a while since we've been able to say that we can do that. And if you want to get the magnifying glass out and bitch about something, Sooners did have a 2nd down on that final drive, and they ran the play just a couple seconds too early. They ran the 2nd down before the 2-minute timeout, and that let Michigan keep their final timeout. And maybe that's costly in a different game, but it didn't end up being that way in this game. But another coachable moment, and OU settles for a 21-yard field goal, like I said, but that put them up 2 scores, 24-13. OU burns up almost 8.5 minutes. 15 plays, 78-yard drive, like 8:27. Absolutely brilliant. Ben Arbuckle was in his bag. Like I said, sometimes the young bloods, they get caught up in the moment. He stuck to his guns and just methodical. It was a great freaking drive, man. And then to seal the deal, the Sooners get a stop on 4th and 1. Sammy Omasigo with the TFL. He recovered from the poor play earlier. Had some big plays. You know, it's football. These are young cats. Mistakes are going to happen, but as long as you learn from them and correct them, it's all good, man. Stops them on 4th down. And the game was over, but it's always great to get that stop, give the ball back to our offense so they can take a knee, and how sweet it is. Now, I had the game paused before I watched the clock tick all the way down, and I was thinking to myself, I hope these people do not rush the field. Now, I thought that they might, and I totally get rushing the field against Bama last year, especially with the type of year that we had and all the misery that season was. And we just needed something to feel good about last year, and beating the crap out of Bama felt pretty damn good. So that was understandable. But this is Oklahoma, one of the winningest programs in the history of college football. We have different types of expectations this year, and we're in a different place already. We should expect to win games like this, and moving forward, I think we will. But, the young bloods out there, they got to do it for the gram. They want the videos. I was sure it was going to happen. I didn't want it to, but I sure it was going to happen. I went ahead and pressed play. Guess what? It did not happen. Sooner Nation on the pulse of what college football is all about. And Sooner Nation, you did good, kid. You did real good. Maintaining your composure, being awesome in the stands all night long, being rowdy, showing up for game day bright and early, and then being there and having that energy. And then at the end of the game, just loving it from the stands. Well done. And I am starting to fall in love with this defense. I love this freaking team and this defense, man. They suffocated Bryce Underwood. He was 9-24 for 142. He's definitely going to get better. He may plays physically, but he just couldn't seal the deal with the throws. He is definitely going to get much better, and you could see some of the stuff that's got everybody all freaked out. But they made his life miserable. Justice Haynes did have that 75-yard TD run, and when it said Bowen and Daniel just kind of got pinched too far inside, take away that run, and as a team, Michigan ran 31 times for 71 yards or 2.3 per carry. That's Michigan. Behind that behemoth offensive line, they could not get anything going. One broken run that we paid the price for. Other than that, squadoosh. As a team, the Sooners had 8 TFLs. And like I said, that's one of the biggest and baddest O-lines out there in college football. And they got overwhelmed. I'm loving that. And my dude, Owen Heinecke, leading the team in tackles with a couple of those monster plays when they were needed most. These cats are locked in, people. And offensively, what more can you say about John Mateer? Dude has been absolutely incredible, and hopefully he's just getting started. They're starting to learn what they can do with this offense. More guys are going to get back. It's going to get better. And you have to give it up to that offensive line. Like I said earlier, Michigan might be the best front we see all year. Those guys were big and strong and beasting. And while we didn't have the high yard per carry average that we would have liked to seen, we did run the ball 40 times for 138 and 2 touchdowns. And if I said it once, I'll say it again. When they needed to run the ball, they ran the ball. The young bloods up front for Susi, great game. And just overall where this team is at, the mental fortitude to not crumble with those catastrophic mistakes. Those mistakes were trying to shift the momentum. They were trying to flip the game, and Michigan was trying to take it. But this team, showing how mentally strong they were while being so young, last year I think this team would have fallen apart. Not this year. They held it together, and they took the game back over, and then they ended it on offense, eating up that entire fourth quarter. I know it's early. I know it's only 2 games in, but this team feels different. We got those war daddies up front on both sides of the ball. You can't tell me that defensive line doesn't look like SEC football. You can't tell me the offensive line is not starting to look like it as well. There is a ton of talent on this squad, and they are building it. And between Nagy and BV and all the coaches, they're identifying the right type of kid to bring into the program. And everybody wants the microwavable results, but we stick with the program, and you see how it's building. And I am completely stoked. Tons of absolutely brutal games on the horizon, but for now, I am enjoying the hell out of this team, and it's been a while since I've enjoyed a game like that and seen our Sooners just physically dominate a team in every aspect. And I am here for it. But there is no time for pats on the back. Can't stop, won't stop. We're headed on the road for the first time this season. Our number 13 ranked Oklahoma Sooners heading to Philly to take on those Temple Owls at the Link, where just last week, former Sooner Jalen Hurts did my Dallas Cowboys dirty. Sidebar, OU is favored by 24.5. OU leads the all-time series 2-1, which includes a 51-3 beatdown of the Owls last season. Temple's lone win against the Sooners came in 1942, so it's been a minute, but take every opponent seriously. And something's really cool what these guys do. They call it Temple Tough, which is an homage to Chaney, the old school basketball coach that was a staple with this program. A single-digit jersey is considered to be one of the highest honors at Temple, and it's decided upon by the players, coaches, and immense staff. And the head coach, K.C. Keeler, cool name, bro, announced 5 members of this team that's going to be wearing the single-digit jerseys during 2025. I think that's such a rad thing. It's kind of like that, the captaincy on the jersey. They get these the single digits, they have earned it. So when you're watching the game on Saturday, you know if you see one of those guys out there, they've been doing some good work. Keeler is in his first year at Temple, but this guy has been a winner at every level wherever he's been a head coach. And in his presser this week, he was very complimentary about OU, but also says his kids are ready for the challenge. As a team, they need to put an emphasis on doing the little things. He also said of the Sooners, quote, full grown-ass men, very talented. He also recognizes that Mateer and Arbuckle are already a team, and Mateer is really talented. He wants to try to get some hits on Mateer early. Easier said than done. That's a big dude. And he said if his team can win the turnover battle and execute, that they will be right there. That is the formula. But even if that happens, I'm not so sure that that's going to be enough. But you know what? Let's not risk it. Let's win the turnover battle, and let's be the ones that execute our plays clean, no pre-snap penalties, no turnovers, smooth special teams, okay? The coach also thought they had a heavy load pause of Mateer being the majority of the OU run game. He also thinks that's temporary. It's almost like this cat knows a shit ton about football. He said as the team is working through the new offensive scheme, at some point we'll see the running backs be more involved. Maybe that could come on Saturday. You know, the little negative Nellies, the sky is always falling with these cats. They already want to run Jaden Ott out of town. Patience, you donkeys. Pump the freaking brakes on that. Give this guy some time to get healthy and get acclimated. Everybody just wants results right away. It's like slow your roll. It's a process. We got to build strong foundation, and then you go up. Okay, so just chill the F out. So maybe we see those running backs on Saturday. And coach also expects to see a lot more tempo from the Sooners. And that might be the way to go against these guys. Wear them down. We wore Michigan's front down late. Think what we could do to these Temple guys if we have some of those drives. for his Owls. By the way, they have some great names. Jay Ducker, or the running back, or Duck as they call him. Therese Worthy. How about this? Ryder Cush. Epic name, bro. Jojo Bermudez. I like it all. Peter Clark, half Spider-Man, half Superman alter ego. Hopefully he doesn't play like either of those dudes. Okay, maybe they're alter egos, but not the superhero aspect. Speaking of Peter Clark, coach said he's becoming a much better blocker. We'd like to see more of that for the Sooners. And he's got 2 receiving touchdowns on the season. He says he likes Ryder too, and they really like the running backs. One of them is making an appearance on the Doak Walker potential list there. He also said about his talent, big schools will come try to poach some of his players. He really likes what he's got there. He said, but when he recruits, he wants kids that want to be players at Temple, dudes that actually want to be at Temple. And I like that. And with the new NIL and the way everything is going, I hope that's something that doesn't go away from college football. Mike Hawkins Jr. always wanted to be a Sooner, and he's a Sooner. You know, we see these programs offering all this cash as being like, oh, I hated Nebraska, but they're the highest bidder. That's where I'm going to go. That's brutal. You see it in the pros, but I really don't want to see that become a thing in college. So hopefully it does not. But either way, man, they are building something good at Temple. I just don't think it's going to be enough to go against our Sooners. Temple does lead their American Conference in both scoring offense and defense. They've won their first 2 games by a combined score of 97-17. UMass and Howard aren't OU, but the point is Temple has kicked the crap out of both of their opponents. They returned 6 starters on offense from last year and 3 starters on defense. Their QB, Evan Simons, got 9 TDs and has not thrown an interception this season. The team is averaging 260 yards per game on the ground, converting over 70% on third down. Very effective in the red zone. They've scored on all 9 of their red zone possessions, including touchdowns on 8 of the 9 of those. On defense, they've only given up 92 yards on the ground, 3.7 per carry, and they haven't given up a point in the second half of either game. Now, I can't imagine any of those stats holding up on Saturday, but what that tells me is this is a tough, smart, well-coached team with an emphasis of not beating themselves. They play with discipline. They do the right thing and let the chips fall where they may. They're going to need a lot of that on Saturday, and that's okay. Last year, though, the Sooners beat this squad 51-3 with JFA throwing 4 touchdowns. OU won the turnover battle in that game 6-0. But the Sooners were only 1 of 12 on third down. That was a problem they had all last year and have been great on all third downs this year. But that was then, and this is now. That Sooner team last year was also able to run for 220 on these Owls. And that team couldn't run at all. And I have a much better feeling about our O-line this year and the run game and what it's capable of in 2025. And nowhere in my head do I see any form of upset in this game. But I hope the Sooners do. I hope they fear something happening. You got that epic win against Michigan, but that doesn't count for shit moving forward. All you have is the next game. So I do hope the Sooners come out with some of that juice and the intensity that they played with last week. Have the starters come out, do their thing, and continue to get the young guys some PT, some reps before we move into conference play. Because speaking of conference play, next week, JFA and the Auburn Tigers are coming to town. So hopefully our Sooners aren't feeling themselves this week for what they accomplished last week. And hopefully they aren't looking past the Owls. Who? The Owls. That being said, if we're the team we think we are, or at least the team we think we will be, there will be no effing around in this game. Beat those Owls to a bloody pulp. Have a couple owl egg omelets, and then move on to Auburn. Some pretty good games on the week 3 slate. We got number 6, Georgia, at number 15, Tennessee. The Dogs are 3.5-point favorites on the road. Both teams at 2-0. Game day will be in Knoxville. Georgia's 41st appearance, Tennessee's 28th. And for these Vols, man, they said, Nico, no way. We're not upping your pay. Tried to get more money before the playoff game. Scumbaggery, what did it get you? Well, it got the Vols, Joey Aguilar. And so far, he's been a total upgrade from Nico. Over 500 total passing yards and 5 touchdowns through 2 games. Although East Tennessee State, Georgia is not. And Georgia still got that ferocious defense. They've only given up 13 points through 2 games. Can Tennessee continue that offensive explosion that they've had? A huge game for Heupel. But can Gunnar Stockton jumpstart that Georgia offense? They've not looked that great so far this year. But it's been a minute since Georgia has lost their conference opener. And Tennessee on an 8-game losing streak to these Bulldogs. They're going to be lathered up down there in Tennessee. And this is a chance to really put Heupel's squad on the map or continue the Georgia dominance. We'll see. Number 18, USF. At number 5, Miami. And the Hurricanes are 18.5-point favorites. And everybody is falling in love with these USF Bulls. They are the only team this season to beat 2 ranked opponents so far, including that stunning 18-16 upset over Florida in the Swamp last week. Number 90 with a little Hawk Tua kept that USF drive alive. I guess he didn't watch the Thursday night game. Jalen Carter spit on deck and they threw his ass out of there. What a piece of crap. Anyways, it looked like Florida was going to come back. USF drove down, ran all the time off the clock, and kicked the game-winning field goal. Grammatica's kid. If you've been around a while, you know Grammatica. That's his kid out there, which is kind of a trip. But either way, Carson Beck has been worth every penny for these Canes on the season. 42 of 55, 472, and 4 TDs. He's taking care of the ball. And he led that 10-play, 46-yard drive to pull off the major upset week 1 of Notre Dame. High expectations for these Miami Hurricanes. Cristobal's Miami Hurricanes. But is USF, are they having some kind of crazy season? We are going to find out on Saturday. Florida at number 3, LSU. LSU favored by 9.5. Oh, can Florida recover from that epic loss last week? Dropping a game at home. And don't look now, Florida. But after at LSU, it's at Miami, hosting Texas, 2 S's, then at Texas A&M. Hot seat for Billy Napier right now in Fuego. But maybe dropping that game last week will have these Gators full attention as they move in there. But that is bad news because LSU looks to finally have a defense. Offense has been okay. Can't cry when they're undefeated, but Nussmeier will get that side of the ball sorted out. Gator fan is just hoping that it's not this week. Man, it's going to get crazy if the Gators drop another one. So it'll be interesting to see if they can come out and match the intensity at LSU. Then we have number 16, Texas A&M at number 8, Notre Dame. The Domers, 6.5-point favorites at home. A&M 2-0. Headed to South Bend to try to exercise the demons after that 23-13 loss at home to the Irish last year. For the Irish, CJ Cars played pretty good football. Drove down there, had his boys in the game tied up against Miami, but they couldn't get the stop when they needed to. And he looks like he is the real deal too. So it'll be interesting to see how he plays in this game. It's going to be rocking there. A&M's quarterback, Marcel Reed, he left the game last week. It looks like he's going to be back this game, and they are going to need him. He makes that A&M offense go, does a little bit of everything, running and throwing. So this is a big game, man. Notre Dame cannot afford their second loss, and A&M has visions of bigger things. Their schedule gets brutal down the stretch too, so this is a huge game for both squads. Then we have Vandy at South Carolina. South Carolina, 5.5-point favorites. Vandy coming in this game 2-0. Diego Pavia came on the scene last year, decided to come back because he said they're going to win a natty. Well, they are 2-0, the first real test when they head down to Columbia to face the 2-0 South Carolina Gamecocks. They dominated this game last year, 28-7. But Beamer's Cox got hot at the right time last year, but they could not sneak into the playoffs. Paid the price for how the beginning of their season went. That is still fresh on the mind to everybody there. And they cannot mess around losing to Vandy, because you want to talk about a brutal schedule. Mizzou, Kentucky, LSU, OU, Bama, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. That's the next 7 games for South Carolina. If they can get out of that unscathed or semi-scathed, they will be battle-tested for those playoffs down the road. But do not overlook Vanderbilt. Wow. College football off to an outstanding start. And I am completely stoked about it. And if you want to get stoked, head on over to Believe.com. That's BLEAV.com. Go to shows, type in Sooner State of Mind. That's Sooner State of Mind. Don't get it twisted. Get it locked. Get all your Sooner love there and stay in a Sooner state of mind. But over at Believe, we have a ton of great content. Every team, every topic, everywhere, Believe.com. And if you want to watch Sooner State of Mind, to get into a Sooner State of Mind, head on over to YouTube and search the Football Dudes. We are there. My name is Casey Mallon, and I am always in a Sooner state of mind. Sooner state of mind. Sooner state of mind.